What's up, everybody? This is the Anime Man here, and today, I like Dragon Ball more than Dragon Ball Z. Whoa, hey, don't make me transform. I'll go great ape on your ass. I absolutely adore the Dragon Ball franchise. There's so many unforgettable moments, deep lovable characters, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Tien, Frieza, Gohan, Master Roshi. There's endless adventure, hilarious writing, and earth-shattering battles of legendary proportions. Dragon Ball has stood the test of time in the same way that Star Wars has, always maintaining a hardcore fan base, no matter how long the series has been going on. It's impossible to overstate the franchise's impact on Japanese and Western culture, almost single-handedly responsible for bringing anime to the West. Whether or not that was ultimately a good thing, I'll let you decide.
The answer is no.
We could discuss every incredible aspect of Dragon Ball Z until our power levels grew to over 9,000.
What, 9,000?!
And I might just do that in another video. Instead, I want to focus on key differences I've noticed between Z and the original, i.e., the deciding factors that make me connect with a show on a deeper level. I wholeheartedly encourage discussion in the comments, even if you disagree. I've just been so passionate about this series. I want to share that passion with all you guys, and I've wanted to talk about Dragon Ball for way too long. In most eyes, Dragon Ball Z was always the favorite son, overshadowing much of his older brother's accomplishments. And I think it's time Dragon Ball got some much-deserved praise. Or wait, did I get it wrong? No, yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone agrees that the mentally challenged cousin GT was actually the best, most talented son. But before we jump into this, a word from our sponsor. What's the matter, Act-Man? Life got you down? Yeah. You need something to distract you from the worries of the world. You need anime. What? That's right. Anime. And you'll find the best, hottest anime titles at crunchyroll.com/theactman or click the link in the description. Doing so will get you a free 14-day trial for Crunchyroll Premium and increase your power level. Enjoy countless anime titles such as JoJo, One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball Super, and so many others. Watch as much as you can with English subtitles. And only with Premium do you get beautiful 1080p HD resolution with no ads. No ads? You can even access Crunchyroll on all your devices: Xbox, PlayStation, Android, iOS, Apple TV, and more. Well, what are you waiting for? Use the link crunchyroll.com/theactman to start your premium 14-day trial for free. Support the channel and unleash your true power. Yeah! Here's some background on me. I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z as a kid because my childhood was the bomb. Waking up every week to see what would happen on the next exciting episode of Dragon Ball Z was always the highlight of my Friday. I had action figures, posters, toys. Going into my teen years, I rewatched the entire series. And with all the hormonal imbalances of a teenage boy, how could I not think this was the greatest thing in the world? There was everything to love about a series where ultra buff dudes beat the living crap out of each other until their faces fell off. Look at those muscles, my god, we need some oil all over that sculpted bod. It wasn't until much later that I had even considered watching Dragon Ball. How could a prequel have better fights, action, or characters when the Z fighters were all way weaker back then? Did they even have Super Saiyans? And that's pretty much all I cared about, was just that sweet release of watching edgelords like Vegeta kick some ass. The first time I watched Dragon Ball, I went in with pretty low expectations. But unlike Vegeta's hairline, DBZ still has a lot of flaws, many of which aren't as prevalent in Dragon Ball or don't even apply. Now, I imagine the shows are pretty faithful adaptations, and if I get a detail wrong, well, you'll do your job, internet. It's important to note that Toriyama famously wrote this series under pressures of the Japanese business model at the time, which was pretty much do or die. You either kept people reading or you lost your job. Because of this, Toriyama did not plan out in advance what would happen or where he was taking the series. Considering how great Dragon Ball is, this is amazing, yet it can explain a lot of the problems that started popping up later. I'm going to be comparing the two television series based on the following topics. So yeah, that's where we're at. But what is it about Dragon Ball that makes it better than Z, in my opinion? Well, let's turn on our Dragon Radar, transform into a Super Saiyan, and our way straight into this. The first thing you'll notice going from Z to DB is the stark contrast in humor and style. I was shocked at all the crass, dirty jokes and general perversion from Master Roshi, Oolong, and several other characters. And considering all the stuff they put Bulma through, it's a little creepy at times. Even had Yamcha grab her tits thinking it was a pair of Dragon Balls. Oh god. No way in hell they would have gotten away with that nowadays. But Dragon Ball Z matured in a lot of ways, as did the audience, and Toriyama left most of the crude humor behind. I guess I just appreciate the lightheartedness of the original because in DBZ most fights had a tendency to get super serious and dramatic. The comic relief in Dragon Ball makes the series a lot more fun, and some fights were almost entirely for comedic purposes, which made the more serious moments a lot more powerful. Dragon Ball makes me laugh and cry, and Master Roshi, for a large part of DB, is used for comic relief. But when he gets serious, you know it's fucking serious. Cell never tried to bribe Vegeta by flashing his crotch at him in exchange for Android 18. That's all I'm saying. But I would like to see that. Dragon Ball felt more adventurous. You know, Goku travels across the world, meeting and helping tons of people, learning and growing as a person, saving villages, making friends and enemies. And that adventure does carry over into the early parts of Z, when Piccolo is training Gohan, but it kind of evaporates after that. Dragon Ball takes place entirely on Earth, and so we get to see this planet in all different ways. There's a lot of world and character building that DBZ forgoes in favor of going into space. And how vital the Dragon Balls became to the plot is also noteworthy. Early on they played a pivotal role in the conflicts. Bad guys wanted them, and even the good characters sought the Dragon Balls for selfish gain. Point is, the balls were hard to find. It took a while to track them down, but in DBZ, they often gather all the balls in like a day. I equate this to Game of Thrones and the amount of time it takes to travel somewhere in the early seasons compared to Season 8. In Z, the balls more or less function as a way to undo everything a bad guy does and Deus Ex Machina the plot back to where it started. DBZ may have had longer and more epic fights, but in some ways, it doesn't have the young, adventurous spirit of the original. Dragon Ball was inspired by the Chinese novel Journey to the West, and has based many of its main characters on ones from the novel, as well as taken inspiration from Hong Kong martial arts films.
Don't be fooled, Goku! He's using the drunken boxing technique!
With Dragon being a frequently used title in those films, Toriyama applied it to his manga. You can see martial arts influence all over Dragon Ball, from the Bruce Lee ripoff in episode 15, A Trip to the City, to the various martial arts imagery, the way characters get in their stances prior to each fight, size each other up, the importance of martial arts schools and the rivalry between them. Korin Tower, there's a huge emphasis on student and master. Goku takes on several masters that teach him and us in the process. In fact, most of the important plot points revolve around the Budokai Tenkaichi tournaments. Martial arts is critically important to Dragon Ball. That's where all the fighting comes from. That's where the story comes from. And as someone with an eye for it, I love seeing the attention to detail in the strikes and moves characters use. See, Dragon Ball still has the element of superheroism, you know, characters that are way stronger than regular humans, that can deflect bullets and tank explosions. But the core lessons are all based on the principles that martial arts can teach a person. How to defend yourself, learning self-confidence, living with a good heart, learning to make peace with your enemies, defending the weak, etc. These are all the ways characters evolve and grow throughout the series and the lessons they learn. It's martial arts that ties it all together. However, as soon as we get to Z, and even a little before, Dragon Ball stopped focusing on martial arts and started focusing on this. We went from this
You are not focused on the present, the here and now. Your mind is scattered like dust.
to this.
Commit your mind and focus. Distraction is the root of all failure.
No, Master. My destiny is not what you'd have me believe. I'm no killer.
Remember when Goku and Krillin trained with Master Roshi, delivering milk, testing their speed, moving rocks, and doing all manner of things? You know, it all has a basis in real martial arts training, and it was cool. When characters trained in Dragon Ball, it was always entertaining and a bit different. But in DBZ, it kind of all became about, oh my god, Frieza is so strong, but if I train in 12 quintillion times Earth's gravity, I might have a chance. You see, Ki, the energy characters used to shoot energy blasts and tank all these hits, is a metaphysical concept. But the training in Dragon Ball is based on real practical application. Ki is just the superhero aspects of it. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I think all the martial arts stuff was really cool. I mean, characters would attack using different weapons, General Tao pulls out a broadsword, Goku uses the power pole, Yajirobe used the katana. I feel Dragon Ball has a lot of important lessons to teach, and because of the smaller scale nature of the story, these lessons are instantly relatable. The less the show became about martial arts, the less it felt grounded in a relatable setting, and the fewer lessons I learned.
I know you're looking for answers, Tien, but don't place too much importance on this tournament. It is merely a checkpoint by which to evaluate your skill, not substantiate it.
It's not a deal breaker, but this all illustrates a clear shift in style. Dragon Ball was never a realistic portrayal of martial arts, but DBZ lost its influence in a lot of ways and transitioned into a show about superheroes saving the world. Which brings me to my next point. I think the single biggest mistake Toriyama made when writing DBZ was how he handled narrative escalation. Now, what is that, you ask? Well, it's basically how the plot escalates and de-escalates. You're probably familiar with rising action, climax, and all that. Basic porn story structure. So let's look at each saga of Dragon Ball and how the story escalates over the course of the series. Introduces the characters, establishes the mythos of the Dragon Balls, and sets Goku and Bulma off on an adventure as they try to collect all 7 Dragon Balls, while preventing the evil Emperor Pilaf from obtaining them, ending with the Eternal Dragon being summoned and the world saved by Oolong. Goku and Krillin train to enter the World Martial Arts Tournament. Master Roshi enters to make sure neither wins, and it culminates with Goku transforming, Master Roshi destroying the moon, and winning the tournament.
My dream to be tall as a mountain will come true!
These sagas detail the efforts of the army to collect the Dragon Balls as Goku fights the leaders, ending as he assaults the Red Ribbon compound and destroys them all.
Did the whiskers give me away?
Goku and friends need to find the last Dragon Ball, so they meet Baba and battle her 5 fighters until she reveals the location of the last ball. But not after Goku has an incredible fight against his own grandpa and a touching reunion.
Tien, you're making a big mistake.
No, Gramps, I'm correcting one!
Tien Shinhan focuses on the villainous Crane Hermit School and their students Tien and Shiaotsu, who have a rivalry with the Turtle Hermit. They all battle in the World Martial Arts Tournament.
Evil containment!
The sagas of Dragon Ball have a perfect escalation of plot, ending with the culmination of King Piccolo trying to rule the world and his son 3 years later attempting to destroy it. The first saga does have our heroes save the world, but in the upcoming sagas, the plot is de-escalated, so we can work our way back up again. Now, with Dragon Ball Z, aside from arguably these sagas, every single one eventually becomes about saving the world, and when that's not high stakes enough, the universe. Even most of the movies follow the same formula. Save the world from the Saiyans, from another Saiyan that looks like Goku, save the world from Slugman, save the universe from Frieza, from Cooler, from Metacooler, save the world from Garlic Jr., save the universe from Frieza again, save the world from the androids, from Android 13, save the world from Broly again, save the world from fucking Broly a third time, Save the universe from Cell, save Otherworld from Janemba, from Bojack, save the world from Harudagard, save the universe from Majin Buu, save the universe from Super Buu, from Kid Buu. I think the word repetitive would be an understatement. It seems like Toriyama thought with each new saga he had to increase the drama vertically, make the conflict and the bad guy even stronger, more threatening than the last, which can only take you so far. Once you hit that ceiling, you're just bashing your head against the ceiling, and you're not going anywhere. Even though we're told Frieza is the strongest being in the universe. But then I guess some scientist on Earth was able to create a couple of robots that were somehow stronger. Vegeta kinda sums it up perfectly.
Then the whole universe is going to die!
That makes the battle against Kid Buu way more important, right? The whole universe is at risk, and the stakes cannot be raised any further. Unless, of course, we create a multiverse where there are even more universes that could be destroyed. Oh, fuck, they already did that. High stakes does not equal high drama, and a save the world plotline is totally fine. It just becomes problematic when that's all it ever is.
Dodge this next attack if you can! But know that if you do, your precious little planet will be gone!
Now say goodbye to Namek!
He's trying to destroy the entire planet!
Let's see you try and stop this! I'm going to blow up the Earth! And there's nothing you can do! Nothing you can do! Nothing you can do! Nothing you can do!
I'd consider Tien Shinhan's redemption arc as some of the best drama this franchise has ever seen. The world didn't need to be threatened for us to feel tension and drama between him, Master Shen, Chiaotzu, Goku, and Roshi.
Tien Shinhan! Leave me alone!
More personalized stories grounded in the progression of a character as they overcome their flaws are often way more dramatic and focused than any Save the World plot could ever be.
I need a replacement. You fit the bill nicely. The world could use a few new heroes.
A new hero.
When Tambourine kills Krillin, Goku's quest for vengeance is so emotional, we don't need to put the world at stake for it to feel impactful. That's my point. Dragon Ball escalated slowly, and the fights were more personalized. When DBZ took over, it kept trying to go up instead of side to side, or back down and then up again. Toriyama trapped himself in a vicious cycle, which, in my opinion, makes the plot of DBZ repetitive at times. Now, you might be thinking that DBZ still has the edge over Dragon Ball because the fights are way longer and cool. But let's compare them. Most battles in Dragon Ball revolved around a new obstacle, technique, or a strategy that Goku and friends had to overcome. Opponents were strong, but there was more to it than that. We see this perfectly in the Fortune Teller Baba saga. Bandages used his bandages, taking Yamcha and Goku by surprise. The Invisible Man wasn't strong, but he could conceal himself. Grandpa Gohan knew all of Goku's techniques and fighting moves. There's even a character named Bacterium whose sole strategy is to disgust his opponents into forfeiting. He literally has a move called Smelly Finger. It's gross. In Dragon Ball, a stronger fighter didn't always win. Krillin nearly defeated Goku in the World Martial Arts Tournament. Chiaotzu could fly and had all sorts of crazy tricks up his sleeve. Plague and Terror were normal humans, but they had a gourd that could suck people into it. As a result of this style, the fights were always engaging because you never knew what technique or strategy a character would pull out. There was a lot of creativity and playfulness. The problem DBZ faces is with power levels.
Power level 322. Power level of 710.
1,440?
139?
Power level's over 1,000.
My fighting power in this form is over 1,000,000.
It's over 3,000.
Power level has returned to normal.
Puny power levels.
Power levels.
Power levels. Power level.
Power levels.
Power level.
Power level.
Power level.
Power level.
Power level. Power levels.
Power levels. Whatever's coming has a power level of 5,000.
It boils down to strategy, strengths, weaknesses, speed, techniques, and stamina, all down to a number. If your number is bigger than the other person's, you'll probably win. Fights are a lot more tense when the show isn't telling us that power levels exist and using that as the basis of a character's fighting potential. Without that, Suddenly it's possible for an underdog to come out on top. The DBZ structure is very formulaic. New villain is introduced, who is too strong for Goku and the others to beat. Introduce plot device that raises the character's power level. Introduce new plot device to raise villain's power level. Toriyama will go back and forth with this to the point of near exhaustion, when he has sapped all he can out of a fight. The original Dragon Ball used this power-up plot device very infrequently. King Piccolo wishing for youth made sense. But look again towards DBZ and how many power-up plot devices the show needed in order to get characters' numbers up enough to battle the bad guy. King Kai's training in 10 times Earth's gravity, in 100 times Earth's gravity. Saiyan's getting a Zenkai boost, hyperbolic time chamber, fusing with Nail, fusing with Kami, Guru unlocking potential, Old Kai unlocking potential, Cell fusing with androids, Cell absorbing humans, Frieza's different forms, Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, Fusion Super Saiyan, fusion forms, Boo's different forms, training in Otherworld. These things all pop up when there is no realistic way our heroes can fight the bad guy. And then it becomes a common plot hole when you're just like, well, why didn't they use those power-up plot devices before? It's a misconception that if your number is bigger, the fight is better. It's like having a weapon in a video game that look the same, function the same, do the same thing, but yet one has a better number. Then there's this mad dash to be the strongest in the world. Who's the strongest fighter in the world, in the universe, in Outer World?
And here in Otherworld, they're all working on their 10,000 years of hard training.
You mean to tell me that there were characters who have been training for over 5,000 years, and in the span of like 10, Goku became stronger than all of them? That's ridiculous. Dragon Ball hit the ceiling a long time ago. There was no need for powering up during a battle. Characters would analyze one another, stare each other down. Imagine if Bacterian, Pomput, Nam, and all the other fighters had a 3-minute powering up scene. It dilutes the real content. The point of powering up is to show the characters are ready for battle. Do we really need 5+ minutes to establish that? While I love all the showdowns and action DBZ has to offer, the fights often are way too long. In the Cell Saga, it gets ridiculous when they introduce regeneration. There's a point in the Buu Saga when Gotenks and Piccolo blast Buu, and he explodes into 1,000,000 pieces, then they blast all the chunks, and the gas from those explosions revives Buu. It's just absurd. Toriyama reuses drama of making you feel like, oh, the bad guy, he's defeated? Nope, he's not. He's still there, and that happens like 50 times with each villain. I actually think Dragon Ball Z has a lot more drama than the original. Moments where Piccolo reminisces about his history with Goku, Vegeta crying as he begs Goku to destroy Frieza, Majin Vegeta versus Goku, future Trunks' entire arc. I just think the fights often became a distraction from the story because of how drawn out they are. Why does improvement in the Dragon Ball universe only constitute physical gains? If someone loses a fight, why is the solution always get stronger? There's only so much the human brain can process before it doesn't really make any sense.
He dodged it. He's faster than the speed of light.
If a character can go faster than the speed of light, when characters in later arcs get faster than that, how do you show that to the audience? You can't, because it's the same thing.
It's just that your movements are so fast that nobody could see what happened.
It's rare that I find a fighter who can follow my movements.
He's so darn fast.
Why do my punches always miss you?
They might be telling us the power levels are higher, but the feats are the same. In Dragon Ball, with a power level of 200, characters could move so fast they'd disappear, and yet it's the exact same thing when they disappear in the Buu Saga with a power level of 10 million or whatever. Oh, I'm sorry, with a power level of 150 billion. You want to talk about compensating? Majin Buu is apparently 1,000 times stronger than Frieza. Power levels are dumb, and they make some of our favorite characters useless and irrelevant to the plot. To add on to that whole power-up plot device, when characters do get that new power boost, it's quickly outshined by a more powerful version of something else. And that's the reason characters become irrelevant. Some of them don't even get power-up boosts and are just thrown to the side. as early as the end of the Saiyan saga. Piccolo and Kami's relationship was built up so much, gave them both incredible depth. They hated each other, two halves of a whole, and when they both reluctantly fuse, because there's no other way, it is glorious. For like 3 episodes, until he's beat by Cell, can't destroy Android 17, and then Piccolo mostly becomes irrelevant. It's even worse when he's used for comic relief in the Buu saga.
Get out of the tub.
The problem with DBZ is Akira doesn't give the side characters anything important to do. Tien Shinhan, Yamcha, and others don't do diddly dick in DBZ because their power levels weren't high enough, and even when they train, it still doesn't amount to anything. Contrary to popular belief, Yamcha wasn't useless. He always put up a really good fight, and his battle against Tien was awesome. And because we like these characters, it's way more fun and engaging to see them doing stuff, even if they fail. Stuff that's important. Otherwise, it's like, why are they there? Example, even when Tien knew he couldn't beat King Piccolo with conventional means, he was still working on mastering a technique to destroy him. Characters don't really do that in Dragon Ball Z. Now they just complain about how they aren't strong enough to do anything. The Z Fighters all came together in the Cell Saga, which was a really cool battle, but goddamn, we waited like 170 episodes for that. One of my biggest gripes with DBZ is how several badass, cool techniques are used in Dragon Ball, but then never seen again in Dragon Ball Z. Yamcha's Wolf Fang Fist, Piccolo growing in size, Tien sprouting an extra 2 arms. You'd think that technique would have been useful in his fight against Nappa. The Dodon Ray, Max Power Roshi, the Power Pole itself, Oolong and Puar transforming. These are things that Dragon Ball Super seems to be correcting. By making the Z Fighters relevant with their own techniques and abilities and moments that they shine, it makes the show more interesting, so that's not just a Super Saiyan circle jerk party. Most fights in DBZ, the characters will just stand around doing nothing. It's like, why didn't Chiaotzu use his paralysis on the Saiyans? Why do characters die after doing fuck all? Why do they all just stand there when the world is at stake? I loved watching Yamcha, Yajirobe, and some of the supporting cast kick some ass from time to time. Gave the series a breath of fresh air, shifting the focus away from Goku for a bit. Remember when Mr. Popo whooped Goku's ass? That was awesome. A lot of villains suffer from villain demotion, where a bad guy is shown to be super powerful, but after they're defeated, a new bad guy shows up, and the old one appears much less strong. This is why the farther down the line you go to villains, the weaker they get. Another point is, what do you do with your characters when their arc is completed? Toriyama kind of just has them hang around. Even if Yamcha was the weakest, he still had an important romance with Bulma, an important side story, but once Vegeta came, Yamcha just turned into a punching bag. I just think Dragon Ball handled the relevancy of its cast much better than DBZ. All in all, these are the reasons I enjoyed Dragon Ball more than Dragon Ball Z. I may have been bashing the show a lot, but I still love both series endlessly. Yet in the eyes of mainstream audiences, I feel like DBZ overshadows its predecessor for the wrong reasons. I'm thankful that Dragon Ball Z went on as long as it did. It's more content to watch, binge, and enjoy. Sure, the fighting is more elaborate, drawn out, new characters emerge, some of the comedy is still there.
Knock knock, who's there? Krillin, no!
And there's a lot of development and strong relationships formed, but I feel like Dragon Ball had it all, with less filler, perfectly long fights, relevant characters that played a huge role outside of Goku and the Saiyans, and the show had a deep connection with the martial arts that inspired it. Dragon Ball is a lot more down to earth, with centralized, small-scale stories and conflicts. It remains my favorite anime to date, and don't get the wrong idea, DBZ is still fantastic, it's just hard to live up to Dragon Ball, in my eyes. Thank you all for watching. If you haven't seen Dragon Ball Super yet, make sure you go to crunchyroll.com/theactman now and check it out with that 14-day free trial. Better yet, let me know what else on Crunchyroll I should be watching. And a big special thanks to all the following patrons: Kingdom 106, Captain Mondo, Alex Moretti, Zap Rousdower, Stephen Cooper, Maurizio 12, Cameron Kinsella, Shepherd Gaming, OX Medic 510, Alex Tresadan, Demon Core, NFG 12 Lokes, English, Kenny D, and Lucas Haynes. You guys are the best.
Gee, Habu!